What's up everybody, how's it going? It's Burke, aka Danzgreat here, and if you are hearing this music in the background, that means that there will be some channel updates / hangout style information. And this one is particularly important, so if you have a few minutes spare today, please give this video a listen, because it's going to contain some information that a lot of people have been understandably asking me about. It's time to try to clarify as best as possible what to expect over the coming months on the channel. So I suggest we get straight into it. Hopefully many of you will have seen by this point that Final Fantasy on the channel has completed a very important chapter. I've been on a mission to try to play through every single numbered single player title in the series, start to finish, and create playlists for them. And this is something that I finally achieved very recently with the completion of Final Fantasy 1. And so naturally a lot of people were like, what's next? Of course, since then, I have released in multiple forms what is next, but I feel like there's still a decent chunk of people on the channel who haven't seen those things that I've posted, so I tried to make like a specific video to answer this question and to help you guys realize what is coming next in the future. Now, if you don't have a lot of time, I'm going to give you the very quick TLDR of this. This week, I am starting the Dragon Quest III HD 2D remake, and that is going to be like a staple on the channel for the coming months as I have my first ever Dragon Quest experience. So that's going to take over sort of the daily Final Fantasy uploads for the time being. And outside of the Final Fantasy X Masters Mod on Fridays and the 3 VODs that I upload every fortnight for the live streams that I'm doing, that's going to be the main sort of JRPG content on the channel outside of Silent Hill 2, which I'm continuing to play through and really enjoy. So that is what is literally coming very soon on the channel. That's the main thing you need to know about. But if you want to hear more about Final Fantasy specifically and what's going to happen with that, then please continue to listen. But if that's all you needed to know, then see you later, enjoy the rest of your day. The rest of us are going to hang out and talk a little bit more about Final Fantasy specifically, because of course it is going to continue on the channel, but I think it's good to kind of explain what to expect next and roughly when you might start to see these things appearing on the channel. So in terms of Final Fantasy more specifically, there are going to be multiple different avenues that I'm going to be going down in the future. The first and most obvious one is that there are still Final Fantasy games that I have yet to play. And the first and most important one of these I would like to play is Final Fantasy Tactics. This was always the one that wasn't like a specific numbered game from the mainline series that I always wanted to try because I always heard great things about it. And that will be the first one I'm trying, and I will be uploading that basically once I get far enough ahead in Dragon Quest, because I always kind of record and edit much further ahead than what is on the channel to give myself breathing room and to help schedule things properly. But hopefully in a few weeks, once I really either get to the end of Dragon Quest III, like I finished recording, or I'm very far ahead and I've got like a couple of weeks or 2 or 3 weeks of breathing room in terms of where I've recorded versus where I am on the channel, I will have a chance to continue my blind first-time Final Fantasy experiences with Tactics. So if I had to guess, I would say probably, if we're being realistic, somewhere around maybe mid-December to near Christmas time, I will probably begin Tactics on the channel as well alongside Dragon Quest. But for now I will focus on Dragon Quest III and try to make as much progress with that and immerse myself into a new franchise that I've never tried before that is also very legendary in the JRPG space. After Tactics, there's things like World of Final Fantasy that I definitely want to give a try. That's obviously going to be sometime probably in 2025. And outside of those two, in terms of like Final Fantasy games, there's not anything too specific that I want to play as a blind run for the first time. Now, of course, the elephant in the room that I've been asked about endlessly for years now is Final Fantasy XIV. I will continue to say what I have said for maybe the last year and a half. I kind of changed my tune over the years. If you asked me 5 years ago, or like 3 to 5 years ago, I would have said definitely no. I have no intention of playing that one. But over the years, I have of course noticed and been told that not only has Final Fantasy XIV improved significantly from where it was, say, 5 years ago, it's also a lot more single-player friendly than it ever was. So for people like me who are like, I just don't play MMOs and MMORPGs, it's just not my style, it's not my thing, the game is more friendly than it's ever been to people like me to give it a go, see if you get immersed in the story, and see if you enjoy it. Now, for that reason, it's gone from I'm not going to play it to I would potentially like to try it in the future, but I want to give myself, I want to do it in the right way. I want to see if potentially I could get a couple of my friends to kind of play along with me, people that have Final Fantasy XIV experience, because I'd rather not do it completely solo. Like, I feel like that's still a bit too defeating the purpose. And so I'm going to see if I can at least get a friend or two to kind of join me in my adventure and see if I can find a good way to potentially like record and present my experience with Final Fantasy XIV. I don't know what style would suit it the best. Like, is there a way to record it like an LP? I'm generally against live streaming the experience. As you guys know, I don't live stream blind first-time playthrough experiences. If I can find the right way to present it, maybe in the future I will be doing Final Fantasy XIV, but rest assured I will make plenty of announcements for that because I know it's the kind of content that'll probably do well on the channel. A lot of people will tune in for it, so I will obviously do my best to make sure everybody knows about it if I am doing Final Fantasy XIV. But it will not be happening for the foreseeable future. I would say I at least need to finish Final Fantasy Tactics and World of Final Fantasy before it even starts to enter the conversation in my mind. So that takes us already quite far into the future. So I know it will happen anyway, but for anyone specifically listening to this, please don't harass me about Final Fantasy XIV for a while. So that's Final Fantasy XIV and other Final Fantasies that will be covered on the channel. Outside of that, we are going to be revisiting Final Fantasies that I've enjoyed or that I want to experience in a new way. So a few ways that might happen is, of course, modded playthroughs of existing Final Fantasies. So there is the New Threat mod for Final Fantasy VII, which I've been curious about for many years. There's the Ragnarok mod for Final Fantasy VIII, which I've also been very curious about. There's different types of randomizer playthroughs, there's challenge playthroughs. There's the 3D remake version of Final Fantasy IV, which I've always been also curious about. And so those are the types of playthroughs that I've generally loved to do anyway. Challenge runs are the bread and butter of this channel and what I began my journey with, and it's still some of the most popular content to this day. So Final Fantasy modded playthroughs and challenges will also continue and will be the type of content you can expect to see in the future. Alongside that, I will be trying to come up with the next attack-only / fortnightly challenge series where I try to do something a little bit unique, which has a different type of presentation style to the usual kind of live commentary format that I do for most of my material. Still undecided exactly on where to go with that. I need a little bit more time. But again, once I do, you guys will be the first to know. So that's that part of the content. Alongside all of that, now that I have completed Final Fantasy 1 to 16, sans the multiplayer games, I feel like I am in a much better position to start creating videos such as tier lists and ranking videos. I have held off from this. I know for any content creator that's known for a particular franchise or game, it's a very easy road to go down. When you start sharing those types of opinions, people will flock to it. There's a lot of engagement in the comments. It's prime material for channels like mine. But it's something that I've really done my best to just leave to the side. I knew it was always available for me, but I wanted to start getting into that stuff once I've completed playthroughs of all of the games. And so what I will start to do is create some tier list videos and some ranking videos. Again, I want to work out a format that's going to work well for those. Because there's so many games and so many options for them, they're the type of videos that can get out of control very quickly. If you go for a bit of a off-the-cuff, rambly type of style, if you've got like 20 games to cover, like 10-2, 13-2, 13-3, 7 remakes, 7 rebirth, if you get into all of that kind of business, your tier list video could be an hour long, and it's not the type of thing that I want to do. And so I want to figure out, again, a format and a style that I think could work well for those, where I can sort of deliver the information I want relatively concisely, and then maybe potentially, say, have a follow-up video. So just make one that is basically the list, without too much explanation or justification or any of that kind of stuff. Present the information in like a concise, fun way, and then afterwards maybe we do some kind of like live stream where we kind of discuss what was on the tier list, or I make like an extended reaction video for people that are more curious. I need to investigate these things. It's not a type of content I've made before, so I want to try and do it in the right way. So that's something to also expect for the future on the channel. And so that should cover most of what to expect from Final Fantasy moving forward. Outside of the obvious like new games coming out for the franchise, I'm always going to be interested and we'll be checking those out when they drop as well. And I think that basically covers everything for Final Fantasy. Outside of Final Fantasy, I will always, of course, try to continue to play through non-Final Fantasy games that interest me. I have been doing that since basically 2010, and it's something I continue to do. As much as this is, of course, a Final Fantasy channel and known best for Final Fantasy, I always enjoy playing other games and I always upload them, and I always urge you guys to give them a go as well. Oftentimes it's not successful. People who watch their Final Fantasy tend to not like watching the other material, and that's something that I can only let you know it's there. I can't really do too much more than that. But one thing that I'm hoping will improve that situation a little bit is trying to start playing more of the classic JRPG style titles that I've been interested in for a long time, but I prioritize Final Fantasy over them because I want to sort of complete my mission of playing through all of the Final Fantasy games first. So we are talking about games like Dragon Quest, which I've already mentioned, which I will be trying, the Dragon Quest III HD 2D remake. I have heard that this is a great jumping in point. They released the third game first, before 1 and 2, because apparently that's the first part of a trilogy, so like it's gonna begin the story, and 1 and 2, I believe, continue the story that begins in 3, and so apparently 3 is a good jumping in point for people who've never played before. It's obviously a very iconic and legendary JRPG series, of course character designed by Akira Toriyama, one of the absolute greatest people to ever be involved in the medium, and so for anyone I think who is a fan of Final Fantasy, it doesn't naturally mean you're going to enjoy it. You might love Final Fantasy and really not get along with Dragon Quest. Might be possible. But I do think, for example, instead of Silent Hill 2, you probably have a greater chance of playing or watching Dragon Quest 3 and finding something that you enjoy in it. Because there's of course going to be a decent amount of crossover between two JRPG titles that began their adventures in the late 80s. So I'm going to be jumping into that. And if I enjoy Dragon Quest, I'll definitely bring more of it. Definitely not gonna promise or say that I'm gonna do anything like, oh, I'm gonna do all of the Dragon Quest games or anything like that. But we're gonna just jump into a new franchise, see how we find it. Now that I have more experience with the early Final Fantasy titles, I'm hoping the transition will be a little bit easier to play through stuff that was basically designed and released in the 80s. Because yes, it's a HD 2D remake, but of course, like the core of the game was still something that was made over 30 years ago. And so I think having a little bit of that old school Final Fantasy experience should hopefully help me kind of enjoy that and make the transition as well. And so those types of titles are ones that I'm hoping that viewers of the Dancegate channel will also try out and potentially enjoy, and there will be some of you guys like me who have mostly played Final Fantasy but watch some Dragon Quest and say, oh actually this looks really good, I'm going to give this a go too, and many of us discover and enjoy a new franchise together. So that's an example of something we're going to go into. Then, of course, we have things like Chrono Trigger that I've been really looking forward to trying. I've been holding off for years, hoping that they make some kind of HD 2D remake for Chrono Trigger as well. Hasn't happened yet, so I'll probably experience the kind of OG version at this stage when I'm ready, because as you've already heard, there's just so much other stuff going on. But Chrono Trigger we'll definitely get to. Also want to try things like Lost Odyssey and Legend of Dragoon. Those are two other games that are on my mind that I definitely want to try. Of course, we also have Kingdom Hearts as well. Probably the single game I've been asked about most. A lot of Final Fantasy crossover there. Understandable. Always held off on that one. Like, it's one of those where, looking in from the outside, I've always felt like I probably won't enjoy it as much. Might not be my kind of game. But that's one of those rare occasions where I'm going to put that to the side and say I feel like I almost owe it to the community to give them a run through of that game. And I'm really hoping that I'm wrong about it, and I get to the end, I'm like, holy shit, this was really fun, I really enjoyed it, and I'm really hyped to play the second game. So what I will do in the future is play Kingdom Hearts 1 on the channel as well, give you guys that experience, and experience it myself for the first time, and then we'll see where we take it from there. So that's the type of thing to expect. Again, there's endless JRPG titles that I haven't tried, because I've been focused on my Final Fantasy, and just enjoying it and loving it so much that obviously a lot of other games have not had a chance to shine as a result. I know people also want to know about Persona. I will say this, I literally started playing Persona for myself a couple of days ago. I'm about 2 hours into Persona 5 Royal. I finally bit the bullet. It's just been talked about too much, and it seems like it's too great a game to ignore. But I forever said it, the game is just too long to post on the channel. I've heard it has a lot of copyright issues as well because of the music, which, as anyone who's watched the channel for any length of time will know, copyright is a real pain in the ass and very hard to deal with for YouTubers, especially that upload as much as I do. And so, copyright issues, the series probably taking well over 200 parts, like 250 parts, maybe 300 parts, who the hell knows. It's going to be, I think, too big an undertaking for the channel. And as much as I know that people are generally excited and would potentially watch it, I think it just takes away too much time from other games on the channel. I could literally probably play through Dragon Quest III, Final Fantasy Tactics, and 1 or 2 other games in the time that it would take me to upload all of Persona 5 Royal. And so I would prefer to keep my attention towards those types of games and experience Persona 5 Royal for myself. Now, if I hopefully complete the game someday, the plan, I will see what I can do with that. Obviously, I'd like to at least make some content to let you guys know what I thought. Maybe a bit of a kind of a loosely review-styled video, maybe a live stream where we can talk about the game, that kind of thing. So I won't completely leave you guys hanging on Persona 5 Royal, but I have begun the journey, and so we'll see how that goes. I'll probably do it at a very slow pace because there's just so much other stuff for me to do. And for a game that takes basically over 100 hours for most everybody, it's probably going to take me at least that much time. And so even if I play, I don't know, 5 hours a week, that's like 5 months. So don't expect me to start reviewing the game or talking about it in the next month or 2 or 3 or 4. But hopefully eventually if I get to the end of it, I will definitely let you guys know what I thought. So Persona 5 Royal won't be coming to the channel. I'm sorry if that upsets anybody. It's understandable. I know a lot of people love that game, but I think that one's just a bit of a step too far. And I'm trying to steer away from games that are that long, like Baldur's Gate 3. Anything that I know is definitely going to be over 200 parts on the channel, I'm trying to hold off on. To anyone that says, oh, but Elden Ring, I genuinely didn't know it was going to be that long a game. I thought it was going to be like 80 to 100 episodes tops, including everything I edited out, etc. But that series just ended up being something different. It's fine, but it's not something I want to do regularly by any means. So I think that's everything I wanted to go through for now. Hopefully this gets us all up to speed, and hopefully you have heard good news in this video. Much of everything you love will continue on the channel, and I'll be throwing in even more different content, and hopefully content that if you've been generally ignoring stuff outside of Final Fantasy on the channel, there might be more content in the future now that you potentially give a go and end up enjoying as well. So looking forward to sharing all of that with you guys. Just look forward to Dragon Quest III HD 2D. If you want me to play more JRPG content on the channel, you really need to support this type of content. If the support and the views just aren't there, again, it starts to turn into a bit of an opportunity cost problem. It's like, do we spend 40, 50, 60, 70 hours playing a JRPG title? Or do I spend that same amount of time playing 2 or 3 other titles that will get basically the same views, but I get to play more different games? Or instead of that, I just do another Final Fantasy related series, and then you're just going to see less of something that you might have potentially enjoyed. So we'll take it as it comes. Dragon Quest 3 is going to happen for sure. We'll see the audience response. We'll see if I enjoy it. And if those two things come together, then expect more Dragon Quest potentially in the future. At least I think for Chrono Trigger and Kingdom Hearts 1, those are pretty much guaranteed. I'll definitely play through those. But there's going to be increasingly more and more titles that aren't considered like the absolute iconic classic JRPG titles that I might still want to play. But if the audience isn't there, then I'm just going to basically play those by myself, or not play them at all because I just don't have the time, and focus on other things instead. So in that sense, you need to support the type of content you want to see on the channel, and I will continue to do my best to find that middle ground of that kind of Venn diagram between what I want to upload, what you guys want to see, and that sweet spot in the middle. So thank you all for watching. I will see you soon for more content, starting with Dragon Quest III on Wednesday, hopefully. That will be when the embargo lifts. I will drop part 1 then. Silent Hill 2 is ongoing, really enjoying that, more episodes to come. Final Fantasy X Masters mod is going really well, lots of crazy epic battles in that one. Those will continue on Fridays, and we are continuing to have live streams which I will upload as VODs. So there's still at least about 5 Final Fantasy related things every fortnight on the channel, but I will get back into like regular episodic Final Fantasy uploads in the next probably month to 6 weeks. So I will see you soon. Thank you for watching. Take care.